On our recent dowsing trip, we had another surprise in the forest. We found this magnificent spiral. The spiral centered on a cut-off tree trunk, and two energy lines crossed there. It's a new line, or possibly something we've come across in the past. It's not the Templar line. But before we go there, this trip we went out towards Blansko and started there. That's where we found this spiral. And then we took a 10-kilometer hike in and around the Lipovets area, trying to follow the Templar line and add a little bit more detail to that part of the line. Travelling through the forest, and we found the line multiple times. We went to look at the remains of a recently discovered castle on a hilltop overlooking the town of Blansko. The castle is not in the written record, but it is an archaeological find. And there we found this tree stump where two 90-pace wide lines crossed. It looked like someone had made an offering on the tree stump. The spiral was made from what looked like piles of leaves covered in Christmas tree branches. And we did perhaps think that it was associated with a local school, but honestly, getting in there, you had to climb over electric fences, and it's at the top of a hill. And with the offering there, and the power that we felt standing on that stump, and the two energy lines crossing, it's another little mystery. Someone was paying their respects to this vortex, and they've mapped it out for some kind of a ceremony relatively recently. Quite a surprising find, and something that we'll probably go back and take another look at, because it is on a different line, and we need to figure out if this is a line that we found already or whether it's a new line, and try to get an idea of where this particular alignment travels. The fact that it's at a castle that's a recent archaeological discovery only goes to show that these lines, these alignments, are real. We then moved off to do our hike, and in this particular piece of video we're walking along a muddy path, and we're just about to douse the Templar line. Multiple times along the path it kind of wandered around the pathway as it moved in that particular direction. But for those of you unfamiliar with the Czech countryside, this is what it looks like, and it's really rather beautiful. And especially along the Templar line, what Eva's doing is, as we walk these walks, and she does some on her own, she's actually trying to create a Templar line walk and map it out in a thing called mappy.cz, so other people can follow in our footsteps along the Templar line. Now in the distance you can see coming up a town, and that is where we're headed. In the town you will see a church, and what we discovered was that one of the lines anyway passed through that church, and the other line passed pretty close by. But that church is the Church of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary, and for us, based on what we've discovered so far, the female line should pass through a female designated church, and in this instance it's the male line and the female line misses it. Well, Eva googled this and discovered that in fact this church, while dating back to the 13th century, burned down in the late 1700s and was rebuilt some tens of meters away on the current site. So we imagine, fondly perhaps, but I think we can probably show it to be true later, that the original site of the church probably did lay on the appropriate line. Anyway, we left the Templar line at that point and started heading back towards the car, across the countryside, along these lanes populated with fruit trees, and down into the valley into the limestone karst area. Very beautiful. And then Shades of Hellier, the paranormal video series, as we found this balloon hanging in a tree. How it got there is beyond my imagination.